Alright YouTube, welcome back to Yensid Nerd, your home for all kinds of stuff. We do parodies, commentaries, and tutorials on anything nerdy I happen to love, which this week includes a Disney review on Frozen. That's right, we're going to be going over Frozen today. So I have to warn you, there's going to be a lot of spoilers. So if you haven't seen it yet, 1, I don't know where you've been, and 2, you're going to know a lot about the movie after this. So first off, we're going to talk about Frozen. We're going to talk about things that I loved about Frozen, and we're going to talk about things that bugged me or I hated about Frozen. Now let's keep in mind, before you start blasting me with how could you hate Frozen, I actually love Frozen and got it the second it was in stores and watched it religiously until it released on DVD any way I could. So, Frozen. Now, I have this thing, I prefer to go with things I don't like about something, or negatives first, and then positives afterwards. Why? Because I feel like I can be mean, and then I can soften the blow afterwards. So, Frozen. One of the things that really bugs me about Frozen is something about their marketing campaigns that they've done and the reviews that they've gotten in Hollywood. How everyone's so excited that it's the first ever Disney movie to teach girls they don't need a prince to save them or to make their life better, and so on and so forth. Essentially the ultimate feministic message that we are good on our own, which I don't deny is true. But Frozen's not the first one to do this. Now, if you're a big Disney fan like I am, then you probably know some of these movies. And if I miss any Disney princess movie that has this theme in it, and don't mention it in the movie, comment down there. Serious. Comment down there and tell me who I forgot. But first one that pops into my head that seems to have that same kind of vibe is this little lassie right here. That's right, Merida from Brave. Now sure, it's a Scottish folktale, and since I'm part Irish, I can't deny some Highland game in me loves it. I love the crazy-haired Scottish princess. Now the thing about this is, if Frozen's the only one to tell us girls we don't need a prince, then why in the world does Merida not want to get married and live freely to do whatever she wants and choose her own fate? And if you're Scottish, I apologize for that poor attempt at a Scottish accent. But Merida's story is that her mother's trying to marry her off to one of the sons of the 3 other kingdoms, families. I can't remember exactly what their titles are, but she tries to marry her off to one of the 3 suitors that comes to their kingdom. And she doesn't want to marry any of them, so she plays for her own hand in marriage. When her mother freaks out, she gets a spell to try and change her fate that changes her into a bear. Now Disney has tried to package this as a story about not being selfish and being willing to compromise. Which I really, I guess it is, but I kind of have problems with that packaging because it really is a story about a girl fighting for her right to live her life the way she wants without a guy until she decides she wants a guy and not being told she has to have a guy. But evidently Frozen was the first one to teach me that. So, now, on top of Merida, there are other females, maybe not necessarily an official princess, but still ends up in the princess lineup when you see merchandising. Mulan. Now sure, Mulan isn't a Disney princess per se. She's actually a Disney redo of an actual historical character. Now the thing is, in Mulan, she actually takes her father's place in the Chinese army to fight the Huns. So not only in it is she, of course, teaching us about loving and honoring our family and doing sacrificial deeds for those that we care about. But she joins the army to fight the Huns and saves all of China. So the girl's the hero, not a prince. That's right. Mulan's not stuck in some ivory tower locked up in a castle away from almost everybody except like her parents or something, where she can become afraid of herself. No, sorry. But Mulan, Merida, you evidently didn't teach me I don't need a guy. That was Elsa. Now, I love Elsa's character, and there's no denying. So we're going to switch into things I love about Frozen. Now, sure, people will say it is uber overfilled with characters, with the fact that there's 2 princesses and 2 sidekicks for comic relief. But I'd say that's twice the fun, and, you know, some diversification or whatever. And it's cute to see 2 sidekicks hamming it up together. So, plus column, 2 sidekicks, twice the fun. Also, Elsa's character has a great range for the most part. Sure, a lot of the movies she might seem brooding, but if you're looking for it and paying attention instead of just glossing over the movie, you do notice that there are different times where you see a little bit of layering in her personality. For instance, you see a little bit of sarcasm and whimsy almost in her in the opening scene when Anna says, "I'm awake. You know, the sun's awake, so I'm awake. So I've got to play." And that face that Elsa gives her about being woken up, and then that really hilarious, almost, well, of course, when she's asked if she wants to build a snowman. I love the layers that are kind of hidden. You have to look for them, and you have to want to see them, but they're there in Elsa. Now, of course, she becomes very protective and afraid of herself because she is a protector personality. She has the big sister protection complex when it comes to her sister and those she loves. So she becomes very afraid of her powers. With that in mind, I'm going to talk about one thing I don't like. I've given you a negative and a positive. Here's another negative. The ever-classic fairy tale mistranslating of a prophecy. Now, this is the most common thing you'll see in movies that have a fairy tale-esque theme to them, a lot of times even in sci-fi movies, which is fine because I like fairy tales from Disney and sci-fi movies, so I'm quite used to this, even though it still gives me room to pick on Frozen. In Frozen, the trolls tell Elsa, your powers will only continue to grow. There's beauty in them, but there's also danger in them, and your greatest enemy will be fear. Now, instantly I'm figuring fear. Okay, if it has anything to do with fear, stay away from it, make the girl a little confident. But then again, if we did that, we really wouldn't have a movie. So, instead of doing that and making her super confident, her parents lock her away in the castle, minimize the staff, and she pretty much only has contact with her parents. Now that would be sort of okay. She'd at least have 2 people she could interact with, and maybe someday they'd learn by the time when she's really old to be more confident about her powers and not stress out. Maybe, just maybe, if they had never died, it might have worked. Maybe. But they died, which happens to so many Disney parents, it's ridiculous. In fact, I dare you to list in the comments Disney characters that have both parents alive and in their life during their childhood. This is very difficult to do, but please, feel free to do it. So of course, Elsa's freaked out. Now that's not the first time people mistranslate the trolls or ignore them. Anna is told by the trolls in the Fixer Upper song that people do dumb things when they're scared or angry or stressed, but we need each other, father, mother, sister, brother, to help round us out And if you throw a little love their way, you'll bring out the best. Somehow Anna didn't get the hint. Now that's alright because her love interest really doesn't get the hint either. Poor Kristoff, when told, hey, she's a fixer-upper too, her engagement is a cloaked arrangement, and by the way, I don't see no ring. Reminding Kristoff that, yeah, she just met the dude, so of course she couldn't possibly love him, so just get the guy out of the way and you're good to go. But he doesn't get it, so when they tell Anna, hey, an act of true love will thaw that freezing heart of yours, perhaps true love's kiss, nobody goes, hey Kristoff, I've really got to know you, I know you way better than Hans, and yeah, you know what, I think I just did a classic Disney faux pas, and went ahead and thought I was in love with the first person of the opposite sex I'm not related to that I saw. No, they rush her to Hans for a kiss. But that's okay, I guess, because otherwise the movie would have ended really fast, and then I couldn't enjoy one of the other things I really love about this movie. Now the great thing about Frozen is it managed to do one thing I've been dying to see Disney do for years, possibly decades. Yeah, probably decades. What I really loved is that it gave me a little taste of what I missed from one of my other favorite Disney movies. That movie being Beauty and the Beast. Now the reason why I love this movie so much, other than the fact that it was an independent, smart girl that, you know, wanted adventure in the great wide somewhere, it had tons and tons of amazing Broadway scoring. In fact, most of the cast, if not all of the cast, had some Broadway musical training, if not actually been on the Broadway stage. So I was ecstatic when I found out that Frozen was actually going to have a big name Broadway star doing Elsa. And no one can say no to pretty much anyone that was in the original cast of Wicked because it was so popular. So when I found out that the outcast voice in Wicked that played the Wicked Witch of the West happened to also be my Elsa, my heart melted. Literally, I had to pick it up and store it in a bucket until I found Elsa and she froze solid again. Not really, but seriously, I was very excited to find out that they were actually going to do some more Broadway-esque music in a Disney musical because, let's be honest, fairy tale, Broadway music. Oh, angels sing at the thought of it, okay? It was the best thing I thought Disney could ever do. Also, another thing in that happy column, 2 princesses. I have been wanting to see Disney do a movie with sister princesses for, I'm going to say at least a half a decade, if not a decade. That's right. Probably since, oh yeah, early 2000s possibly even. I've been wanting to see it so much I even tried to research possible fairy tales. Not easy to do. I don't know how they find these fairy tales. Now, with that in mind, fans are just as eager as I am to see if they'll do a Frozen 2, due to the fact that many fans and big Disney nerds like me have noticed a connection between, or at least a possible connection between Elsa, Anna, and Rapunzel from Tangled. Now the question is, if they do a sequel, will Disney dare to take on the daunting task of doing a crossover? Surely fans from Rapunzel's Tangled and Elsa and Anna's Frozen would love to see the dynamic trio. And of course, who could deny it would be hilarious to see some bromance happening between Eugene and Kristoff. Not to mention, like, seriously, all the sidekicks? Those things are hilarious. And though it would be daunting to figure out a plot, many fans have even suggested that they should do a movie where the girls go to rescue their parents in some far-off kingdom and Rapunzel has to help them or has clues at some point at her kingdom that they have to go and get information. Now, of course, there's a lot of different options here. You can't even give Elsa a romantic interest, possibly even have her romantic interest come and help, which sadly might not work, seeing as people were so excited Elsa didn't need anyone and was so independent. Also, fans have even suggested giving Anna powers herself. What would that look like? Could it possibly be that she would get the summer powers she joked her sister could have had, covering the fjords instead of in snow and sand? No one knows, but this fan's eager to see what they do, and if there is a Frozen 2, you can guarantee this girl will be at the front of the line at the box office. Well, that's all for my review. Comment below if I missed something or if you have comments for interesting spin-offs. Like, cold.